If you want to move to the United States or Canada or any other country outside of your current to do an MSc or a PhD, and you've been finding it challenging for whatever reason, you find it very difficult to accomplish this dream, I think my story will encourage you. Also, if you are an undergraduate student and you are either in your first year or second year or even third year, and you have been dreaming of the possibility of traveling abroad to either the United States of America or Canada to do your MSc or PhD, and you are not sure of how to go about it, and you don't know how that will become possible, I strongly believe that my story will encourage you as well. So I invite you to watch this video to the end because you are going to benefit greatly from my story. Hi, I'm Dr. Emmanuel Akimboye. Welcome to Graduate Student Support Center, where we'll educate and support and mentor students who are planning to go to graduate school or those who are already in graduate school and they need mentoring and encouragement in order to handle all the challenges of graduate school so that they can be successful in the graduate school program. And in this short interview, I present my story to show the challenges that I faced when I was planning to move to the United States of America to do my PhD. And the purpose of this is to use my story to encourage anyone who has similar dream but for whatever reason they are currently struggling, so that they can have the right information and take the right steps and begin to make the right moves now wherever you are, because I know very certainly that if I can do it, you can do it. If I can make it, you too can make it. I did my undergraduate degree at the University of Ibadan, Nigeria. I studied chemistry there at the Department of Chemistry. When I got to the university to study chemistry, then all I was dreaming was that when I finished, I probably would just take some time to teach in secondary school, which was a very common thing that people did. And then after teaching, hopefully I'll be able to gather some resources, then do a master's degree, and then maybe do a PhD, and hopefully I will eventually become a lecturer. That was all my dream. I really didn't think of any possibility of traveling abroad to do a PhD and to do the kind of stuff I do now as a scientist with chemistry. But during my second year in the university, I had an interaction with one of my lecturers. I remember very well the professor taught us physical chemistry, and I performed well in his course. So he began to talk to me and to ask me about what my plans were. He said that, you know, if you continue to do well and you actually finish well, maybe with a first class or with a very strong 2-1, you have a high potential to travel abroad with some form of scholarship, which will cover your tuition, and maybe part of your cost of living will also be covered. And you may travel either to North America or somewhere in Europe to do advanced degree. So that really was a very encouraging advice that encouraged me to continue to study hard and to put in more effort into my work and to make sure that I perform well. After he gave me that information, the other thing he said was he pointed at a number of my senior colleagues who had gone through the same route of they finished their program within the university and then they were able to travel abroad to do their advanced degree, and the fact that through that they have been able to have a well-established career in whatever path they chose. So that was really very encouraging. And as I tell my story, one major lesson I tell people that taught me, which I advise people, is that when you are in your school, whether you are in an undergraduate program or you are in your MSc program, it is very important to have the right information. it is very important to know your lecturers, let them know you, know your senior colleagues, let them know you, interact with them, and that will give you opportunity to know what you can do. You know what is encouraging them to move forward and what other things that you also can do to be able to accomplish something great that you want to accomplish later. Because in life, the key is having the right information. So the actions that I began to take apart from studying hard was to begin to interact with some of the senior colleagues, and also I made sure that I interacted well with all my lecturers, so that by the time I needed to get recommendation letters from them, they would have known me, and they know me not just from how I perform in their class, but also from my character, from the level of character, from the way I interacted with them, because this was going to be very important in them being able to write a very strong recommendation letter for me. So those were the things that I began to do. Searching for schools was quite challenging because I'm telling you of what happened more than 10 years ago. Then in Nigeria, use of the internet was not as easy as it is today, where people can browse on their smartphone. We didn't have any smartphone around. It sounds like I'm talking of what happened 50 years ago, but this is just a little over 10 years ago. So I had to go to a cyber cafe to do night browsing. I remember very well, I will pay for a time to browse all night. As I was getting towards the end of my program, towards the end of my 4th year, and I was seriously thinking about this possibility. I was searching for schools, and the problem I had then was I didn't really have a significant guide on how to search for school, on how to go about it, what kind of school to search for, because I was aiming towards North America. Because as I looked through, I noticed that it's only in North America where I could get scholarship, which will come in form of a teaching assistantship or research assistantship, where my tuition will be covered. And after covering my tuition, there will also be some stipend that will cover my cost of living, because that was the major part of it. Because like I said, I didn't come from a rich home, so I needed a package which will include both the tuition and what will cover my cost of living. So searching for school and knowing the right school was a major challenge, because I really wasn't in contact with many people who have traveled abroad, and it wasn't the time when social media was very popular that you can easily reach out to people and they will give you information. But one of the major mistakes I made then was, because I didn't have the money to take the GRE and TOEFL, and also the challenge of paying application fee, I was looking for schools that would not require GRE or TOEFL, and also that would not require application fee. That's a lot of things to look for. And I could find a number of schools like that in Canada, and I selected about 8 of them where I could send in a pre-application. And for most pre-application, they will not require any application fee. And some of these schools also will not require GRE or TOEFL. So everybody could apply, and then they look at your application. So at that pre-application phase, once they find that you're good and you qualify, then you move to the next stage, which is the full application. And at that stage, some of them may ask for application fee, but I look for those that even at that second stage will not ask me for any application fee. I got about 8 schools. Right, I did the pre-application. The pre-application went smoothly. I qualified for the next stage because my CGPA was very good in the first class range. Then after a couple of months, I got the report back from them. They kept coming almost one after the other, and surprisingly, none of them gave me admission. It was so sad. It was very discouraging. And the email would read like, we got a lot of applicants from different parts of the world, and we got very strong students, and in order to manage the limited resources that we had, we only selected a few, and we regret to let you know that you are not selected. This was really, really discouraging for me, that I had been banking on this thing, and I kept getting all these email indicating that I was not giving admission. It's really an important lesson that I learned, which I use to mentor people now, that as much as you can put together the resources, try to take at least the GRE and then network with people to work out a strategy by which you'll be able to pay for application fee, and you can apply to at least 1 or 2 schools that requires the GRE, 1 or 2 schools that require application fee. Because what happened was that because these other schools did not require all these exams and they didn't require application fee, but a very large number of students from different parts of the world also applied to this. So that made the competition to be very, very fierce, which is really easy to understand. It's really easy to understand why it happens that way. And that's why I advise people to not make the same mistake, because your time is very important. And if you waste the first year of looking for school, trying different schools that really will not eventually take you, you get discouraged, because that's what naturally happens. So, and that is my advice, and that's a major lesson that I learned from that experience. After I completed my undergraduate program and I began to interact with 1 or 2 of my senior colleagues who had already moved to the United States, I remember one of them advised me that it is very important that you take this exam. Though you may say that, oh, you don't have money, at least take the GRE if you don't want to take TOEFL, because TOEFL is the test of English as foreign language, but GRE will be very important for you if you are looking towards coming to the United States. So I really didn't take it very seriously at that time, because I was expecting to hear from the schools in Canada to which I first applied. But before the time that I started getting emails from the schools in Canada that I will not be giving admission, I had already registered for the GRE and TOEFL through the airport. One of these, my senior colleague who was already in the United States. So I started to prepare for the exams, but I was thinking that, oh, maybe I would not even need it, because I was thinking of going to Canada at the time. So I took the GRE and TOEFL then around December or so, with the hope that I will be applying to schools that have their application deadline sometimes in January or February, so that I could still meet that deadline. And I'm saying this to encourage anyone who feels like, oh, I cannot put all the money together, and because I cannot put all the money together at once, then I'm discouraged, I cannot do it. No, the truth is that if you have been interacting with some of your senior colleagues or some of your friends, you can make this type of arrangement where you can pay them back, maybe instrumentally or whichever way you want to do it. Or if you can pay it once, you can pay it, but you can get help through some of your senior colleagues who can help you pay for the exam. It's really how I did it then. But it wasn't that I finished school and I got a job and I was able to put the money together immediately. So what I did was I began to do some little work as a tutor. I was tutoring students. I was helping different students who were preparing for their secondary school exam, those who were preparing for WAEC, and I was working in different schools, teaching in A-level schools, teaching in secondary school. So all of that I was doing to put the money together. All the money that I made was going to saving. So that's how I was able to raise the money that covered the exam, but not just the exam, but all the money that I put together to cover all the cost of traveling abroad, which include the cost of doing the visa interview, all the cost of traveling, like buying airline tickets and things like that. It was also needed to come with some money to settle down in at least the first couple of weeks in the United States. And I'm saying all this, I'm telling my story here to encourage whoever is listening, to encourage you as you are watching me, that it is possible. When there is a will, there is a way. If you truly desire this thing, first, don't be discouraged and utilize what you have. The first thing you have now is the degree that you've already got. and your time that you are now in school, those are the things you have. Now, how do you use the skills you have now? You can use it to teach others. You can teach people who are in secondary school, or you can do other kind of things with your skill by which you can raise money and put the money together. Because what many students will say, oh, I don't have the money, oh, I can't raise all that money, oh, that's a lot of money for me to raise. And I'm like, look, if I tell you my story in details, you will know that your position now is really way better than mine. But I still encourage myself to put together all the resources that I needed. The key is the desire. The key is the intention. And that's what you need to have. And also the vision. You have to see that future of you traveling abroad and getting that degree, and see it as something that you desire. And as you set that dream, that vision in front of yourself, you are going to have the courage to put all the resources you need together, because you are going to need money to do this thing, which is why doing some form of job and making money that can help you take care of that is very important, because you are going to apply to more than one school, which is one major advice that I want to give here, and I will continue to advise this in the subsequent videos. I advise people to apply to at least 6 schools. Don't just apply to 1 school or 2 schools, because the more the number of schools you apply to, the bigger the opportunity become for you. And I have a video which I'm going to put the link in the comment below, where I itemize how to actually go about the application process, things that you need to do step by step, the steps you need to take. I would like you to watch that video, because that gives you the guide on how to go about this thing. And you can always ask questions. You can always send us an email to ask questions, and I will respond to you, because I have been assisting people on this. I've been encouraging and mentoring people on this application to graduate school for several years, and I've had many people who have had success stories. So that it is possible. It is very possible, but you need to do the work. The part of it that is your responsibility, no one can do that for you. And where you need help, that is where people like me and many other people and some of my friends come in, where they can advise you, they can mentor you, and they can guide you through the process of applying to graduate school. So I want to encourage you to watch that video, and let me hear from you if you have any other question. Initially, I was focusing on going to Canada, so most of the schools I applied to then were schools in Canada. And by the time I realized that, oh, Canada will not work out anymore, it was already getting very late. I think it was around the end of February to early March. That was when I was now thinking that I needed to now use my GRE to apply to schools in the United States. And I didn't want to wait till another cycle. I wanted to make use of the opportunity of applying to school to make sure that I'm still able to arrive on campus in graduate school in the fall of that year. So I started looking for schools in the United States that hadn't really reached their application deadline, and it was very difficult because most schools already the deadline already passed to apply. So I was sending email, I was trying to reach out to different people. Then I spoke with some of my lecturers back in my university then, and that was when I knew about Howard University. And I was so lucky that I was still able to apply to our university. And to cut the long story short, because it's a very long story if I have to go into the details of how that happened, because there were still a lot of other challenges about getting a number of documents across and making sure those documents arrived at Howard University on time. But I could say that everything worked out well for me at Howard University. The application fee was paid, and I got a report from the department that your application has been forwarded from the department to the graduate school, and they are working on it. And when the evaluation is complete, you will be notified. So I was very excited about this, not knowing that another challenge was coming. So after a couple of days, I got an email that, you know, your application was reviewed in the department where you sent it, but in the graduate school, we are reviewing it, and we will not offer you admission until you send in the WES evaluation of your transcript. So WES is World Education Services. It's a non-profit organization in the United States that reviews transcripts and a lot of international documents from foreign applicants, or not just foreign applicants. If you do your degree outside of the United States, they review those documents to make sure that they are at par with the standard of the United States colleges and university. So that was a major problem for me because I wasn't expecting it. I'm like, oh no, not anymore, because I had been waiting that, oh, this will work out, but now they asked me to do something else. Then I went to check the WES website, and upon checking that, I realized that I needed to get a new transcript from my school in Nigeria. Then after getting the new transcript, I needed to now pay. It was about $150 then, which was a lot of money for me, to put that together. And then how will I even pay? Because they were requiring me to pay in form of maybe some form of money order or something like that. I was just so discouraged, like, what is this again? But the vision, the old desire was there. So I started reaching out to people, and without going into details of how it happened, I was favored to get someone to step in to assist me to actually make the payment in the United States. Then I forwarded my transcript to WES to do the evaluation, and there were a number of other delays because they had to send it back to Nigeria for verification and all that, which was another story entirely. And by the time the whole evaluation completed, it was already so late. It was sometimes in August, I think, that I couldn't even start in that August anymore, because after they got the evaluation from WES was when they now decided to grant me the admission, and then they had to process my form I-20 to send it to Nigeria and all. So it was just late that I couldn't even start that fall semester anymore, that I had to defer my admission to the spring, which was now January of the following year. No, at that time I felt like, oh no, so this whole dream of starting August will not work out anymore. But I was still glad that at least I had the hope that it would work out in January of the following year, which would be the spring semester. And that's how it happened. Then I started processing the visa, which really was another thing entirely. To get a date for my visa interview was a problem. But I'm glad that eventually everything worked out well, and I arrived on campus at Howard University in Washington, D.C. And I did my program in medicinal chemistry, and I graduated well. So that is really the story. And I believe that you too, you have gained one or two things that encourage you in my story, that if I could do it with all the obstacles on the way, you too can do it. The challenges that you have had, I am not minimizing them. They are a real challenge, because I had been through the same, which is why I can empathize with you and show you some compassion, and also I can encourage you, and also I can mentor you through these videos. And this is free mentorship. This is a free mentorship where you can get this video instruction, and then you can apply the instruction. And I believe that if you take it seriously and you are persistent in focusing forward, your story will also turn to a very great and encouraging story that will encourage another person tomorrow. My final advice for you is, don't be discouraged. If I can do it, I will keep repeating that. If I can do it, you too, you can do it. Why am I saying that? Because I have encouraged many people, I have assisted many people, I have mentored many people in this way. And most of them are either here in the United States now, or they are in Canada or different parts of the world where they are doing their graduate program. Through my story, by helping them with the process, getting your transcript on time, do your WES evaluation, which is really a main advice I will give, that today is not just a few schools. Many schools are beginning to ask students to do the WES evaluation now. So I encourage people to do this WES evaluation as soon as you finish your undergraduate program, or if you also do master's program, as soon as you finish, apply for your transcript and specifically apply for copies that you will send to WES, so that WES evaluation can be done and you know that that one is in place. And by the time you start your application process, you will not have to worry about that anymore. You know that at least you have it already with WES and you can always apply for that. Because that's the good thing about it. My own that I did then, I can still apply for copies now to anywhere I want to send, which is the beauty of it. It gives you that peace of mind because they already have it with them. And do not be discouraged because of all the rejection letters that you have received, all the letters that you've received that you are not giving admission. So that's my main advice for you. It is not over until you win. That should be your mindset. If I can do it, you can do it. Many people have done it, and you don't have to make a first class to get admission to school with financial support, with a graduate or teaching assistantship. No, there are strategies to go about it. There is a smart and wise way to go about the application process, which begins with your school selection, which is really very important. And in the video that I did where I gave instruction on guidance on how to go about the application process to apply to school in the United States or Canada, you are going to see the details there. So I really want to encourage you to watch that video, and I put the link in the comment below. So that video will give you the step-by-step process when it comes to what you cannot do by yourself. When you need the right information, that's when you need us. And that is why I started this channel, to help you, to give you the advice you need, to give you the encouragement you need, to give you the motivation that you need, and to tell you that if I can do it, you too, you can do it. It is not over until you win, because when you get advanced degree, this is going to change your life. It is going to affect your future significantly, and it's beyond what you can imagine now. The sky is the limit. In fact, what you can do with your advanced degree is actually up to you. There are a lot of wonderful things that you can do to contribute your part to make this world a better place. I know that if you have watched this video up till now, you have got some great advice from it. So I want you to like this video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell, so that when I upload any other episode, you will be notified about it. And also share this with your friend or anyone that you know who may benefit from these instructions that I'm giving through this channel. And if you have any question, put it in the comments or send me an email about it. See you in the next episode. Bye bye.